Brendan, what's the overriding feeling then heading into Scottish Cup semi-final weekend?
Well, very, very excited. Our motivation is to arrive into the final. We're off the back of a very, very good performance and result, and obviously we played St Johnstone recently as well, so we know that we can't give any more gifts in terms of our mentality getting into the game. So having played them so recently, then it's a really good thing for us.
Does that remain a reference point for you then, or do you feel you got over that last week?
Yeah, I think that we learned from the game, clearly. I think you've seen that in the performance against Hearts. But it's always important just to reinforce that our first half performance just showed that if you think you can not be aggressive and be passive in the game and don't give a lot and expect to gain a lot, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. That was our messaging after that performance. But you've seen the players last week. That was what the Celtic team's about. The pace and the speed in the game, the pressing, the counter-pressing, and that's what I expect to see in Hampden.
Does last year's semi-final as well maybe serve as a reminder that it doesn't always have to be it can't always be the easy road? Sometimes, these occasions can throw up a few twists and turns.
Absolutely. Well, I think that we've seen it so many times. There'll always be favourites going into games. But you have to perform well. And it doesn't matter who the opponent is. Like you say, we got through last year on penalties and went on and won it. So it's never just plain sailing all the way through. But what I'm really happy is when I came here in 2016, there was always a wee bit of trepidation. I think Celtic went through a period where it was difficult, both in semi-finals and finals. We sit here today, now arrived as a football club, and a feeling that we will win. And whether you do or not, but the feeling and the mentality is that we have a feeling that we can go there and perform. And that's a mindset that is now with everyone at the club, with players, with supporters, and then you go and deliver, and that's the plan.
Is that quite a powerful feeling to have, that sort of all those good experiences at Hampden, because it's not just you, it'll be a lot of your squad as well arriving in that headspace?
Yeah, well, the experience clearly helps you. Because you know what it takes to deliver. So I think there's a lot of the players here. They are winners and they understand it, and it's up to us to help those guys that are coming through this phase for the first time. But we're really looking forward to this game. Like I said, the St Johnstone game, it was poor from our perspective. But the key to this team is how they bounce back. And I thought last weekend we were so good in the game, and I expected that. I expected us to be good in the game. That attitude was there, the winning attitude. And once we're a team that when we play with the speed and the intensity and the pressing, then we're a very, very difficult team to play against. And that's what I always said when I first came in. I want us to be really, really difficult to play against, with and without the ball.
Brendan, you were saying there, the mindset now, the feeling now when you go to Hampden is that you will win. Do you feel that you, the club, the players have that, or that the other clubs feel when they play in Celtic at Hampden in a semi-final or a final? They feel almost an aura of invincibility at Hampden.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we want to win. Like I said, having that bit of trepidation around going to Hampden, that feeling now, the feeling is that we can win, we will win, we want to win, and that's a different mindset altogether. So it doesn't guarantee anything, because you still have to do the work, but it's much better going there feeling that you can tip the scales more your way than not, and that just comes from that winning mentality, that feeling, that culture that you create, and obviously then going and really owning the pitch at Hampden. And that's what, in my time here in the main, that we've done, both in semi-finals and finals. There have been some of them very, very difficult, but that edge that you can have through winning there can help you, hopefully.
How's the squad looking?
Okay, yeah, we've got Casper's working out on the pitch. He's still not quite ready yet. Who else? Yang is still he'll come out of the sling shortly, so we'll see how that is. And Dave Murray's had an issue. Dave was someone that I was looking at for the Rangers game and playing the day before the game. He had a wee sort of moment with his knee, so we're just assessing that and looking at that. So he'll be out as well. Apart from that, everyone okay.
Brendan, such is life at Celtic. You're kind of planning forward for the next season, trying to win next season while you're trying to win this season.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about Dyson Maeda recently. There's maybe some positive news about Greg Taylor. Is there anything you can update on that? Is there something positive that you can tell us there? Is there anything changed?
No. I seen a headline. Someone sent me a headline yesterday, and I was hoping it was really true and that something's happened. But I don't know of anything. I think I've said all along he's a player I so want to keep here, but that bit of it is out of my hands now. So, but until then, we just continue to work with him and never give up hope, because there's still a wee bit of time left through to the end of the season. But I've got nothing to give you concrete on that, Greg.
You said a few weeks back you were kind of almost resigned that he was going. So do you think the door might still be open then?
Well, no, I think I'm just talking through my experience of being in this situation before, numbers of times with numbers of players, and I'm hoping, and I'll hope that this is one of these ones that maybe can go on longer and doesn't go the other way, because normally in this situation it feels that way. But I think you see from Greg's performance last week, he was so good in the game, absolutely so good. It was one of the, in terms of that role, that inverted position, that's as good as I've seen that play last week. Because when you're playing against teams that are man-to-man, you need to have mobility in your team. You need to have players that can find space, be clever when to be inside, when to be outside. That's the nature of how we play. You think at times we spoke to him in pre-season when we were looking at playing against Chelsea and Man City, him being in a number 10 position sometimes as well. And the first goal comes from that. He's in that position, combines with Rio, and he scores a brilliant goal. He's such a fantastic player, but he's more than that. Greg's not just a great footballer for how we play and the system that we play and the way we play. He's very instrumental off the field. He's got big personality in the changing room. His character fits this club. Why? Because he's up for every single game, and I mean every single game. Whether it's Red Bull Leipzig at home where he was absolutely brilliant, or whether it's an away game, he's up for every game. So he's in tune with what being a Celtic player is about. When you look at James, you look at Cal, you look at these guys, they live with the expectation, they live with the feeling and what the demands are of this club. And Greg lives that feeling as well as a Celtic player. So he is so much more to him than his game, but his game is perfect for how we work and how we play, which is why I want to keep him so much.
Greg's achieved a great deal since he's been here, but would you hope that if he can achieve more success between now and the end of the season, possibly help you complete a treble? It might, sway his thinking. It might give him a decision to make. It might, affect what he thinks about his future.
No, I think listen, he knows how we all feel about him here. It's a big decision at 27. He's making, because if you're going to commit, you're committing for 4 or 5 years. So it's you're pretty much, you're saying that this is your big contract here for the next 4 or 5 years. I think he knows what he gets from a football perspective. He's absolutely every right to just take his time and try and get your value met. So I totally understand that. I think the winning of trophies, yeah, of course he wants to succeed. I think the big thing for Greg is playing, of course. Obviously we get Kieran coming back in, but still, it's still a squad and it's still a season, and especially now where it has felt such a long season with no breaks or no anything in there. So I think that even more so you need a really, really good squad. So yeah, but listen, he's a super guy. He'll be very focused to the end of the season. You see his performance level last weekend, having not played for maybe about 5 weeks or something. He come off against Hibs and then comes into the game at St Johnstone, makes a difference for us second half, and then last week against Kilmarnock he was really at the highest level. So but we'll see.
Kieran helped Arsenal beat Real Madrid and get to the Champions League semi-final this week. But will it take Kieran a little bit of time to adapt to the role that Greg is performing now, the inverted role, when he comes in? Does he have a wee bit to go to adapt to the specific role that he'll have that Greg plays so well? No,
it's Kieran plays his role. It's a different type of player. He can do that, of course. He can jump on the inside and be outside. I was in contact with him in the week, and I'm saying that our wingers are very scared now because he's playing on the left side, he's playing on the right side. So, but he, no, I think he can play that role, but he has different strengths and different qualities, and that's also the part of the when you're trying to build a squad. You're trying to have different strengths within it. So Kieran has his qualities of pace and power and runability, and also has a passion for the club, and he obviously can't wait to be here. But we also need a squad of players, and for me it can dovetail perfectly with say someone like Greg here. But we have to wait and see.
Just watching Kieran in the Champions League or in the Premier League, Brendan, how is it for you as a manager? As a player that is coming in, he's playing the highest stake games, and can that be a benefit? He's coming back here in the summer and he's beaten Real Madrid, going to play PSG, possibly a Champions League final. Can that benefit the whole club?
Well, no, I think, listen, if when he comes back, irrelevant of the experiences, we will improve as a squad. By having him here, of course. But I think I'm just really pleased for him, and obviously seeing Arsenal, it was a fantastic performance over the 2 legs. To see him be involved in that is obviously a great experience for him, and obviously this last couple of months will be a really exciting couple of months for him there. But I know what I'm getting with Kieran, what we're getting back. We'll get back a player with great experience, because when you work in the Premier League, every single week for you it's like a big European game in the main. It's so challenging, so testing, and he's had a number of years of that. So, but we're getting him back at a brilliant age, and hopefully can help this squad achieve a lot more.
This potential guard of honour from Rangers has been creating a bit of discussion. What are your views on guards of honours generally, and what's being said?
When did we play Rangers? A couple of weeks. Right, there's enough time for that. So I'm just focused on St Johnstone, and that's the big focus.
Brendan, aside from the football, on social media this week, somebody has decided to put up on what looks like an unflattering video of Adamida. I just wondered if you were aware of it. You probably are aware of it. And would you feel the need to speak to Adam? Have you spoke to Adam? Just what's your take on it?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything, of course, but Adam rang me yesterday to take me through everything that happened. I spoke to him again this morning. Yeah, there's a sadness to it. He knows where I am in terms of, and the group knows where I'm at in terms of focus and mentality, but this was on a day off. I think the sad thing for me is that a 24-year-old football player who in his spare time can't sort of let his hair down without someone trying to film him, and I think this is the challenge now for people in general, but in particular if you're a young football player, you see it. So no, I got the full story from him. I don't have any doubt he's a great young professional, Adam. He does absolutely everything to be the best player he can be. Nutritionist outside of the club, does his extra work. So I have absolutely no doubts about that. It's just a shame that that these things get pieced together and make it look a lot actually worse than what it is. And obviously people will see it as, I haven't seen it, but I've heard some of the guys mention it. But that's he has to live with that. But I've got no doubts on his mentality. He's had an evening off on Wednesday. We were off Thursday, and we've got plenty of time before the game Sunday. So yeah, I'm with Adam on that.
It's unfair on young lads, isn't it? They get a day off, they get a chance to let their hair done. It's not really fair when people do that. But does it just, you just kind of double down, just saying to them, just beware, just...
Aye. I think this is what you're trying to do, Craig. You have to. I think in the modern society, and especially these young guys, that they have to be guarded. You know, sadly, it's the way of the world. You know, people that will maybe go to sign an autograph or do a video, and then some clown comes in and says something else in the video, and then people wonder why will players not do a video, or why won't they sign? Why do they drive past? Well, because you try to expose them. So why do they take the risk then? Well, they just drive past, or they just don't bother, which is a sad thing, because kids, you know, they want their things signed and whatever else. But it's where we are. It's where we are. We just have to live with that, and whatever was put out there, of course, people will have their own narrative to the story. But I get it from him, and he was honest enough to ring me yesterday, and we spoke, which was great. And then I had a good chat this morning, so he's fine, and he trained really well, so he'll be ready for the weekend.